And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Ivan the Terrible from Zero Regrets. Now, Zero Regrets is the guild that my buddy SureShot is from, and Ivan's in the same guild, so pretty cool. Shout out to Zero Regrets. I am sure they are always looking for a couple high-end players to join their ranks, but they are doing all the raids, and I do believe they're even going to be participating in the new Geo territory battle, so we'll see about that. But Ivan the Terrible is a small dolphin. He's been playing for a couple of years, and really he just wants to know what he's been developing. Is he on the right track? What factions should he be focused on for like Grand Arena territory wars, kind of his overall development towards those things. So it's pretty easy. I've got a list of 5 factions you have got to focus down on and get. I have them in priority, and what side characters you need to work on during that time. Now, number 1 for you might be surprising, I'm not sure, but it is actually Separatists. First off, Padme event relatively came out just recently, and so it's going to be a minute before she comes back, which gives you time to get the Separatists up. Now, one of the things about the Separatist faction is General Grievous is kind of the thing. If you get him up, and you can actually now get him up to Gear 13, because those Gear 13 finisher, or the Gear 12 finisher pieces are farmable, if you can believe that. He's really all you need for the event. You can stick 4 other 7-star characters in there, and as they die, it's going to get him going crazy. Now, you're going to want to put an insane, inordinate amount of health on him, and you have to do his Metalloid Monstrosity unique, because every time they die, he gets an extra turn and gets crazy. Now, his AoE will be reset as well with that, and he'll be able to just wipe the board, killing many or severely crippling them, and each time they kill another one of your characters, he's going to take another AoE, and he's going to end up swiping the board. So you've really got to only focus down on one character for this event. That's a Gear 13 General Grievous with about 100,000 health, and then as much as much health as you possibly can get on him. Now, the other ones that you can focus on, because obviously past the event you're going to want to use these characters. There's kind of the what's the path of least resistance for you, and then there's the what's optimal for you. Kind of what's optimal is obviously General Grievous with some droids like Magnagard, B2, B1, and Droideka. But I see your B2, B1, and Droideka all at level 1, and they're not 7 stars, so you're not going to be able to use them for the event. But down the road, that is ultimately the team that you're going to want to develop. The B1 and the Droideka are both very amazing, and B2 is the engine, the turn meter engine for the entire team. For the event, though, you could use General Grievous as the lead. You could use Asajj Ventress because she's 7 stars. You could use Count Dooku because he's Gear 10, 7 stars. Of course, you could use Newt because he's 7 stars, and Newt is amazing now. And then B2, you could use, you just would need to get him up to 7 stars. I really think you have to get him up regardless because he's used in both the droid team under General Grievous, and I think he would help a lot in this particular one. Basically putting down a bunch of buff immunity. You just want to put as much potency on him as possible. 3 sets of potency with just 4 primaries of protection or 3 primaries of protection with a potency cross. So there's that. But just keep in mind, obviously, Droideka is MVP on this event, although General Grievous will be MVP once you get him up. And honestly, General Grievous, like I said, for the event, if you can pop him over to Gear 13, it's going to take everything you got, basically, from now until the event to get him developed up like that. But you have enough 7-star characters to take that they turn into cannon fodder. So you need 1 Zeta, 1 Gear 13 character, and you should be able to get Padme with that. The rest can be significantly under-geared, but Count Dooku, Ventress, there's a number there. So definitely get them up, and then in the long run, you're going to want your droids really developed and Newt Gunray really developed. And then I will be talking about Night Sisters, so Asajj is going to need developed as well. And Count Dooku's almost done already anyway. So Separatists for Padme, but really put a heavy focus on General Grievous. And then, of course, the droids are going to be more long-term, but you definitely want to focus on them. Now, number 2, and it's because Malak, we don't know when he's coming back, and Darth Revan just came back recently. We want to focus on Old Republic. We're going to want to get these guys up for Malak. Now, the good news is your Bastila's already there, Karth's already there, Jolie's already there. Mission is just 1 Zeta away from her being ready to rock and roll. You can drop Juhani and T3 from the mix. So you don't have to use either one of them. In fact, I didn't, which really only leaves, if you Zeta mission, it really only leaves Zalbar and Canderous, and both of them are phenomenal in Grand Arena and Territory Wars, so you're going to want to develop both of them out anyway. If you have Zetas, you'll put Zetas on them and get them to gear 11. If you don't have Zetas, take them, just pop them over to gear 12 without Zetas. Neither one has to have a Zeta, although Zalbar's Zeta is definitely worth it if you're wondering which one is worth it. Canderous Ordo is a luxury Zeta for sure, and Zalbar's is a luxury Zeta for sure. But sometimes at this point, it's easier to pop a Zeta on a character than it is to actually take them from gear 11 to gear 12. So you'll have to make that determination, but you're only a couple individual Zalbar and Canderous away. And when we look at the other piece of the pie, we've got Bastila good, Revan good, and HK, again, is only one Zeta away or a couple pieces away from being ready. So all in all, basically, you've only got a couple characters you either have to Zeta or put a couple pieces on, and then a couple others that you have to gear. So you're pretty close to being completely ready for Malak. In fact, you could kind of work on these particular characters gear-wise and Zeta-wise priority while you were working on your Seps, because your Separatists are going to be less important. The only thing about them that's more important is your General Grievous. Really focus the majority of your efforts on him, and then you could even be doing Separatists and these Old Republic kind of simultaneously, just to make sure that you're getting the gear on the few characters that really need it. And there's not that many. Now, once you've gotten, Padme with your Separatists and Malak with your Old Republic, you're going to have 3 more factions you're going to want to really focus down on. And I'm going to give you my suggestion for priority, but you can mix and match these priority lists if you decide. Now, for me, it's number 3 is going to be Night Sisters, and it really was a toss-up between Night Sisters and Ewoks. Now, Ewoks are great. They're a great B-level team for Territory Wars Grand Arena. They can take out actually quite a bit, and they unlock C-3PO, which helps with the early end raids, Hat and Rancor, and then it also just makes for a Rebels team or Resistance team going from being great to insane. So he's amazing, but he's one character, and the Night Sisters are an entire team. And we also have to be forward-looking. We have to understand that the Sith raid is going to become a little bit easier over time with the Gear 13 pieces, and the Night Sisters are dark side, and you have plenty of light side, so we're looking at developing more dark side specifically for the territory battle, the Geonosis territory battle that's coming out, and Night Sisters are one of the best top 5 teams for that specific territory battle. So if it was me, these guys edge out the Ewoks because it's an entire faction to help you with the raids and to help you with territory battles. So a bunch of PvE as well as PvP. This team is phenomenal for territory wars in Grand Arena, but I do put the Separatists above them and finishing off your Old Republic, which you're almost done with, over Night Sisters. But then after those two, really focus down on Night Sisters as your number 1 priority. Get them started up. As far as the characters, you're going to want 6 of them. You'll want Talia, Asajj Ventress, Zombie, Talzin, Daka, and Spirit. You don't have to worry about Initiate or Acolyte. Neither one of them are necessary. Talia for raids, Night Sister Spirit for PvP. Now, I did mention that the Ewoks were kind of, chasing the Night Sisters, but I put them on a lower priority because, one, they're definitely further away in development, and they're a little bit harder to develop out. They do take some time to get the right characters up. I mean, Chief Chirpa's always competing in Cantina with other characters. Wicket is just really hard to get, a hard node and then an event. Poplu kind of pops up when he wants to pop up. Logray, same thing. You got to be looking at that guild event store so that way you can get them when they drop. But they definitely are going to be your 4th priority, your Separatists, then your Old Republic, then Night Sisters, and when you're done, definitely come back around to Ewoks, get them up. You're going to want to get them up to at least Gear 11, and then you're going to want to put at least 1 Zeta on Chief Chirpa's lead. I know a few people that will put a Zeta on Logray or Wicket. Both of them are really, really great. Wicket provides protection regen, and for him, that makes him really durable, and he is an amazing attacker, so that's not a bad Zeta, but it is a luxury Zeta. Chief Chirpa is really what you want. Once you get them to Gear 11, they'll be usable in Territory Wars Grand Arena. You'll be able to use them in light side territory battles, and you'll have a C-3PO, which you'll be able to use with your Resistance or your Rebels in Territory Wars Grand Arena, making them that much better. It will also help with when you want to play with an undersized squad. You'll be able to use, CLS with Han, Chewbacca, and C-3PO, and that team can kill almost anything. Aside from maybe the Revans, it takes out about anything. And Padme, those are the top 3 teams, really, in my opinion. Padme, and then the 2 Revans. And you have the 2 Revans, which again is why I'm saying you need to go for Padme. Now, the last team after you get Ewoks that I would go back and finish is actually First Order. You did a really good job taking them up to 7-star Gear 9 for BB-8, and I know you were, been playing for a couple of years, and so BB-8 was a higher priority, and he's a good character. Same with JTR. It's a really solid team, a top 10 team for Territory Wars Grand Arena for offense or defense. A nice light side team, but eventually you will want to go back and finish out First Order. And when I say that, I mean you're going to want to put at least a leadership Zeta on Kylo Ren, and then you're going to want to take these guys to Gear 11. Now, I would personally take Kylo Ren Unmasked, Kylo Ren, First Order Stormtrooper, and First Order Officer. I'd ignore Pilot and Phasma for now, and I would then put your First Order Executioner as a primary objective for this particular team. Now, keep in mind, this is the 5th priority in your list of priorities, so this is down the road, and by the time you get to these guys, there's a chance you just may not even want to do them because there may be other teams that have developed by that time. But this is a solid both offense and defensive team for Territory Wars, and you've got them almost developed all the way. It would be a shame not to just take them up and finish them off so you have a very solid defensive team for your Grand Arena Championships. Now, I did mention that you are going to go for Separatists hopefully very first for Padme, and there are a couple of characters in your Galactic Republic that need to be taken up specifically for that team. Now, in that 3rd row down, you'll see Jedi Knight Anakin, Ahsoka Tano, and Shaak Ti. Now, the reason for Ahsoka Tano and Jedi Knight Anakin, of course, is with their synergy under Padme with General Kenobi, and you're going to get Padme. You already have General Kenobi, so those two, Anakin and Tano, are amazing, and you're going to want to develop out both them and their ships because they have ships. You might as well, when you do a character, if they're a crew member, make sure their ship is maxed out as well. So keep that in mind when you're farming for ships and stuff. Now, Shaak Ti is in there not only for Galactic Republic, but you actually like your clones. All your clones are Gear 12. In fact, you got multiple Zetas, one on 5s, one on Codys, and so because of this, because you love them, you really, really need Shaak Ti leveled up and developed. Even at 4 stars, take her to 4-star Gear 11 and Zeta her. Both of her Zetas are worth it. In fact, she's just like a lot of the newer characters where you really need all the Zetas on the character to make them pop. I just used her in my last Galactic or Grand Arena. We just did a Grand Arena and I used her with the clones, and I went against a bounty hunter team and I won with like 57 bounty out of 60. I got like 57 out of 60, which is great. It was really, really good. And, they're really stretching us thin on the number of teams that we have to place, which means that we have to have more on offense. This is an offensive team just waiting to be used, but you have to have Gear 11, Shaak Ti that's double Zeted for these guys to really pop. Okay, so those are the last 3 characters I would develop, but those 3, Ahsoka, Shaak Ti, and Jedi Knight Anakin, I would put in that #1 priority with your Separatists, and then remember your Old Republic's close, and then I would go Night Sisters, Ewoks, and then First Order. This should really hyper-focus you down to get the last few things that you need to get for your inventory. So Ivan, you're really set up for success. I think you're going to do great in Grand Arena. You already have some really amazing teams in Territory Wars as well. If you have any questions or anybody from your guild have questions, you've got a couple of you inside of my private Discord chat. Just feel free to hit me up anytime with questions. And as always, make sure you keep your gaming on. Warrior out.